Hey everyone, welcome to the show. Today we are joined by Anantha Kancherla. Anantha is the Vice President of the Autonomous Vehicle Unit over at General Motors. Anantha, really grateful for your time and perspective today. Thanks for joining us.
I'm really excited to be here.
So without a doubt, the hype surrounding self-driving cars has never been higher. A lot of our viewers are very closely familiar with the developments out of Tesla. Maybe they've ridden in a Waymo if they visit a city like San Francisco. What's the overall progress in the space of developing self-driving cars that you're seeing and also that most excites you, Anantha?
Yeah, so it's been quite a journey. I started in this space in when the first hype started happening and the first boom of AI started happening. And we've come a really long way from then. Back then, everybody thought that it was close to being solved, and we all thought that everybody will just make these completely wheel-less robo-taxis that are going to shuttle things around. And it's turned out to be a lot harder than we thought at the time. Good to understand the challenges, but at the same time, the industry has taken it's bloomed in many ways. Back then, it was just that one thing so many of us were working on. But if you look at the same fundamental technology that is driving so many aspects of the car, you have these features called active safety, which are basically keeping. They're kind of I think of them as guardian angels watching over your driving and protecting you in case you do something wrong. Then you have the other one, where it takes the stress out of the system when you're driving. These are your L2 and L2++. Then you have more advanced versions, like the one that you experienced at in the Waymo ride. So basically, what's happening is that the same fundamental technology has now mushroomed, and it's just bloomed into 1,000 flowers here. So, very very exciting time, and they all come at different price points, and then they all solve different customers' needs. So, and that's super exciting to see.
Anantha, earlier this year when I was in San Francisco and I tried Waymo for the first time, my mother thought I was out of my mind. How do you reach skeptical consumers who could be really important in the future user base if this technology is to scale, who right now are viewing in a new emerging technology like this with a fair bit of skepticism and potentially even concern for their own safety?
But this is how it always starts, right? Anytime there's a new paradigm change or a brand new technology that comes out, people are first skeptical. There are some brave souls that venture out, brave souls like you, me, venture out, try things out, and then we'll see yeah, it's actually pretty darn good. And then we talk about it. Maybe you do a podcast like this, and then more people are intrigued. So that's one way you see it. Another way that you see a progression of technology. I mean, I've been in this technology space for all my life. You saw the same thing when people were adopting automation in, I don't know, operating systems or social networking, all of them. People start being skeptical, and then suddenly it reaches a critical mass and everybody's doing it. And the same thing will happen here. And another way I've seen this happen over time is just taking incremental steps. So people will do experience, say a more entry level, like we talked about earlier, the entry level automation, and then they will see the next level, and they'll just get familiar with this over time. And plus, I do think that there are all these changes in the user experience that will be beneficial. So I think all of these will add up, and people will start building confidence. But by far, the most important is going to be people trying it out and then seeing that wow, this is the most boring ride I've ever had, and then oh, that's exactly how it should be, and then people doing more and more of those.
Tell me more about the accessibility there of the Super Cruise, both opportunities that you see in the space as well as challenges. Anantha, I got to imagine you got a fair bit of headwinds, either structurally or in the minutia, the day-to-day. What have those conversations looked like, both the opportunities and the challenges for Super Cruise?
I think the opportunities in Super Cruise are pretty out there, right? So in the sense that so today Super Cruise works and is available on close to it's well above 500,000 miles. But the American road network is bigger than that even, and there's a lot of opportunity. There's worldwide there is a lot of opportunity to continue to increase the offering in all those places. And then there are a lot of other scenarios, like the one we just talked about, trailering, which is this is a very core experience for GM customers. I mean, a lot of our customers buy these trucks, and there's a lot of problems to be solved for people in that space who are using those kind of vehicles, using the technology that we have. Another, I mean, there's also like a lots of little customer pain points that you see that like you need to be constantly focused on evolving. One, for example, today, like when we first built Super Cruise, like it wasn't really talking to the maps. And, like this is something coming soon. So in a way, like it's a little bit of a sneak preview. Now the Super Cruise talks to the Google Maps that we have on the car, and when you put in your route, it can actually change lanes to get to, if you are say taking an exit. So there are all these little details like you need to constantly fill in. Another thing that you will see is like quite often, like because there will be situations where like you may not have a certain map, and today like the Super Cruise might turn off. So we solve that problem by like just like the car continues to drive. We just expect you to hold on to the wheel at that point. So you just make it a much more natural experience for users to experience like autonomous driving. And there's like tons of work because this is one of those problems where there's lots of details that constantly need to be figured out.
I wonder about the price point for these sorts of things. How are you able to make sure that you are supporting an innovative product while also keeping in mind the price pressures that your consumer base would have, especially now with interest rates being where they are? We're trying to cool down the economy, and obviously Americans are contending with higher prices for a lot of their day-to-day goods. That might leave a little bit less money for a purchase, for something like this.
Well, interest rates did actually come down very recently, but that said,
yes, I mean structurally over the last
yes,
2 years, obviously they're still at a
I mean,
multi-decade
okay,
high.
so at the big picture level, people are going to make like really big decisions. Am I going to buy a car or not? Right? And I think that like from my vantage point, there is like this is an area where people want to continue to see there's demand for such features, and this is the reason why you see both from GM as well as like from competitors, it's available, and this technology is available in more and more. And to a large extent, you can also see some of it is like driven because the technology has to be developed anyway to keep the car safe. So then the incremental cost of adding more of these features tends to start like getting lower and lower as you get there. So that's why like I feel like that's the reason why you see like even in GM like the number of vehicles that continue to offer Super Cruise is just constantly increasing. So yeah, I don't really see that those as like major headwinds so far, and it's possible like maybe like some other economic turn happens and then people start like cutting back. I mean, I don't know how that works.
What does data collection look like, I wonder? I think the more that you have smart vehicles, smart technology, things that are inherently connected to external apps or the era of the Internet of Things, consumers may become a little more wary about how much they engage with new technology like that if they're not entirely sure on what data collection looks like. I wonder what those conversations have looked like even from your customer base as opposed to someone who says, well, it might not be super environmentally friendly, but my old hunk of metal from the mid 1980s, I know for a fact is not collecting my data about where I go and how often I drive.
Yeah, I think it comes down to transparency, right? Like, so I think customers need to know. I mean, I want to know like what my data is being used for, and customers want to know like where it is going and how are you using it. And if we are transparent and we are using it for the right cases, in our case, like if you collect any data like to say improve the performance of the vehicle or you are improving the safety of the vehicle, like so for example, say a false braking happens and you want to improve the safety by like looking at the surrounding view. I think those are like things people I mean I would like be far more forgiving of those kind of situations than like if somebody collects that and like turns it into like a money making opportunity. So that's what people don't like. They want to have control over the data, and I think that's what like we all strive towards. to get there. And if you get there, like I do think that it's possible, because you see like so many products today are connected, and that connection provides a lot of benefits, provided like the people know what is happening with the data.
Of course, the path towards true autonomy has not been accident free. Any new emerging technology has its challenges. For instance, Tesla's FSD software is currently being investigated by federal regulators. One of GM's self-driving vehicles was involved in an accident with a person, I believe, in San Francisco in the last year. Talk to me about the regulatory picture and some of the regulatory challenges, especially in the name of safety.
I think, again, this comes back to being transparent. And as of today, like we report, like anytime like a Super Cruise is in the vehicle has Super Cruise and it's involved in an accident, like the regulators require us to report that, and we report that. And as of today, like I mean, there's like been a double-digit number. I don't remember the exact number of that we reported, and as far as we know, like there's not been any fatality like with the work that we do. But this is an important thing, like for overall the society and governments and regulators to because it is an important thing. I mean, human safety is really somebody needs to watch over it, and that's basically what is going on. And the regulators today are understanding how this technology works. They're understanding the limits of the technology. They're trying to understand what kind of questions that they can ask. And you see the same thing happening in the broader AI space too. People are all these AI regulations that are coming up. It's very, very parallel to what is happening in the autonomous. I just think that like in the autonomous driving, people understand the implications, because people have been driving for like about 100 years or more than that, and so they are able to ask more precise questions than in the broader AI space. Ultimately, it comes down to people wanting to know: have you done the best thing there in your implementation? Have you taken all the precautions that you could have taken? And how does the technology work? Can you tell me like why it didn't didn't work well? Again, I'm just thinking from the first principles. This is kind of how like I feel like regulators are approaching and will approach over time.
It's a fascinating conversation and a really important time to have it. And I'm really grateful for your time and perspective. That's Anantha Kancherla, the Vice President of the Autonomous Vehicle Unit at General Motors. Anantha, thanks a lot for being here. Great to have you.
You're welcome. And thank you for having me over. This has been a lot of fun.
We'll do it again. Thanks.